Have you ever had a friend give you a challenge? Maybe it's a contest to see if you can run faster or possibly beat their high score at a video game. Maybe it's a challenge that seems at first impossible. King David once issued a challenge to his men that seemed impossible, but one of his men stood up, accepted the challenge, and did something amazing. After Saul died, David finally became king. During the first few years of his reign, David lived in a place called Hebron, a city about 20 miles west of the Dead Sea. Today, the city of Hebron is one of the largest cities in that area. After 7.5 years, David set his sights on the city of Jerusalem. There were a couple of problems. First, the Jebusite people were already living in Jerusalem. And second, the city was well protected and was going to be very difficult for David and his men to capture. In 1 Chronicles chapter 11, David gave his men a challenge and the offer of a reward. David said, "Whoever strikes the Jebusites first shall be chief and commander." The Jebusites laughed and made fun of David. They believed that even blind and lame soldiers could fight off David and his men. They were convinced that no one would ever be able to defeat them. But then, one of David's men named Joab stepped up to the challenge. With David's suggestion, Joab found a secret passage up through a tunnel below Jerusalem and captured Jerusalem from the inside out. And just like David promised, Joab was then made commander of David's army. I want to show you a tunnel that Joab could have used to sneak his men in and capture the city. After ruling for 7 years in Hebron, David decided to move his capital to the city of Jerusalem. The problem was that the Jebusites were here, and so he needed a way to enter the city and capture it. He issued a challenge to his men, and he challenged them to go up the water shaft. The word in Hebrew is sinor. Sometimes it's translated as pipe, because he knew that would be an entrance into the city, and if they could get someone in there, they maybe have a chance of capturing the city. Joab volunteered for that and was able to successfully get in. For a long time, we didn't understand exactly what that meant in the Bible. But in 1867, a British explorer by the name of Charles Warren came to this land looking for different biblical archaeological sites. And he found this shaft. And he actually climbed up this shaft and discovered this whole tunnel system under here. And he proposed that this was probably the way that the citizens of the Jebusite city came to retrieve their water. And so he proposed that this is the pipe, the water shaft, the sinor that is mentioned in Scripture.
How do we know that this could be that shaft?
This may not have been the exact way that the people retrieved their water at the time, but this is the way Charles Warren came up. There are 1 or 2 other shafts in this area that Joab could have come up, but it would have been something very similar to this that would have given him access inside the city.
So it still fits the story, whether it was this shaft or another shaft. There was something just like this that Joab would have come up to help capture the Jebusite city.
That's right.
Why would David ask Joab, or one of his men, to come up a water shaft in order to help capture a city?
Well, the city of Jerusalem, the ancient Jebusite city, sat on a little peninsula of land that was surrounded by the Kidron, Hinnom, and Central valleys. So it was very defensible. It was very hard to attack the city. I think that's one of the reasons why David wanted the city. There was going to have to be something secret to happen. And as you can see, it wouldn't be very easy to get here. Only one man could come up here. You couldn't pull a whole army. And so probably Joab came up a shaft like this, then was able to open the door and allow the army in. Sometimes when you choose to follow God, His Word may challenge you to do some hard things, like standing up for what's right even when you're the only one, or being willing to help someone even when you'd rather be doing something else. Sometimes God's challenges may even seem impossible. Like Joab, we should be willing to stand up and accept the challenge. If God is our king, we'll be asked to do hard things. It's easy to stay silent and hope that someone else will do it for us, but we should be quick to accept the challenge and be glad that we can be used in God's kingdom to do great things for Him.